What's going on, miners? I am Chump Change XD, and this is a trigger warning for those of you that might be a little sensitive to ruining electronics or possibly a GPU. I don't know what's going to happen in this video, but I am going to rip apart an RX 570 4GB GPU down to the PCB, and I'm going to put some custom heat sinks on it in a fashion that people are definitely going to be triggered. On top of that, we're going to be sticking this thing in some mineral oil to see how it performs. And just to get it out of the way, I do understand all of the consequences to doing this. I might end up ruining most of my equipment, but I'm willing to do so just for the knowledge of knowing, I guess, and the content for you guys. So again, if you guys are not interested in this type of material, no hard feelings. Just know I appreciate you guys stopping by. Let's do it. What's going on, miners? Chump Change XD here. Hope you're all staying healthy, having a great day. Today we're going to be taking this RX 570 and throwing it in a fish tank. I don't know how this is going to go, but let's do it. Alright, so first things first, I want to take this guy right here. I want to completely disassemble it. I need to take this heat sink off of it. I need to remove the actual fan shroud. And I'm literally just going to expose the PCB directly and just clean it up with a toothbrush, some alcohol, and then we will get just the PCB in there before we do anything else, and we'll kind of go over the rest of the plans. Alright, so this thing is all cleaned up. It has been dried and washed off. I actually rinsed this in the sink and then I put it in the grow tent on top of some other GPUs just to dry out after blowing it off with my compressor. As you can see, it literally looks like brand new, more or less. Maybe a few spots randomly of, like, you know, oil and stuff, but it's literally been completely scrubbed and washed. So now my thoughts, okay? This is probably not the best idea, and I am 100% going to ruin this GPU if it doesn't work. I don't mind with this GPU anyways. It just takes too much electricity and it gets way too hot. So I'm gonna give this a shot. I want to take this heatsink, okay? As you can see, it's pretty tall and it's pretty much the same exact size as the outer like square on this GPU die, right? So my thoughts here: put some thermal grizzly right on the GPU die, and then put a layer of silicone all the way around, just a, you know, a nice thin layer, and plop this down in the center. Then take this heatsink, and I want to cut it up into small pieces so I could put a small section on each memory chip. I don't want to use one this tall only because these ones were super hard to get and find. It took like a month to get those off Amazon, so I'm going to do that. And then I might end up taking a second one of these. I actually have 4 of them this size. And I might cut it in half and just kind of put it right down this embankment right here, because there was a prior heat sink here, or I will just silicone the one that was there, but I don't think it actually sits flush. Okay, so I didn't want to do this on my desk, but again, I'm going to take this heat sink. I'm going to count 4 rows over and 4 rows back, and that's what I'm going to do, is cut it into a square. I'm going to use my little mini M12 bandsaw. This is something I use for like my real job, so hopefully we don't lose any fingers while we're doing it. We just have to place it nice and flat, and you let the blade do the work, you don't push. So overall, not the straightest cut, but nonetheless it worked. It's gonna, you know, do the job. So let me let's cut this into a couple small squares and see how those fit. They fit pretty well, not a big deal, you know. This one in the middle, you can see for like size reference, this one fits completely all over it. The 4x3 is a tad bit small, as you can see. So let me cut the rest of these and we'll get it all filled up. Alright, so I got everything all situated. So I have the longer cut right here. I have obviously the one that's going on the GPU die itself, and then all of the memory chips are loaded up. So this may be foolish, I'm not sure. Again, trigger warning here. If anybody doesn't want to watch it, feel free. But this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this silicone. It's 100% silicone. It is waterproof. This is something that I would use typically in like a you know, outdoor application for like windows, doors, whatever. But I'm just going to do a thin dot underneath each one of these little heat sinks here to get them to adhere to the memory chips. This is something that I will be able to separate at a later date if I need to, but this GPU is going in oil at the end of the day. It is going to be ruined regardless. So I mean, it is what it is. That's why I'm doing this on a 4 GB card. I just want to see what happens. I'm more or less interested in this. So I'm going to have a tube coming across, blowing the liquid through this actual unit, but I need to silicone all this down to be able to do this. And that should do it. So they're all siliconed. Again, I don't recommend anybody doing this unless you really don't care about ruining a card. This is probably most definitely ruined at this point. I don't think I'll be able to change anything on it. But again, this is for science. This is a 4 GB card. I'm not worried about losing it because I don't use it really anyways. So this heatsink right here, right? I'm thinking about putting thermal paste in the dead center and then doing an outer edge of silicone, just so the mineral oil can't get underneath and eat away at that thermal paste, if that makes sense. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I have some thermal grizzly right here. We can actually use this, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a toothpick and kind of put silicone all around the outer edge and then this in the middle. So she's done. Everything's on there somewhat secure. So now you set the oven to 95 degrees Fahrenheit and you place it in to dry. Fresh out the oven. Everything seems pretty secure. That's good. Let's go mock it up. All right, so quick test just for me to make sure it's secure. I can lift the PCB from that heat sink. So it was in there for about an hour. It says it cures in about 30 minutes. So everything seems pretty legit, not gonna lie. So now let's get this in here. She's all plugged in. Now I put a splitter here and to the first PCIe slot because every one of them need a 6-pin to power the actual lane itself. Next step, I want to show you guys the pump I got. Again, I know this is a plastic pump. I know mineral oil is probably going to eat this. I'm not going to keep it in there forever. I just want to see if this actually works. So I'm going to take this pump and I'm going to put this right here, down in the bottom right corner. It's got little suction cup feet. All right, so I've been sitting doing some brainstorming. Got the pump there. It's going to come up, and I think it's going to go into a radiator right here on the rail. And then I'm going to take this one and put it here like this. So I'm going to have a line coming from the right side to the left side and then out the bottom, and it's going to come down and feed that manifold. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So what I need to do right now is set up my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put a bead on the top of the tank to stick this down to it so that stays there. And then we have some nice white ring lights, so that will make this tank kind of glow, which would be pretty cool. I think that's a good idea. And then I might actually take some hot glue and make like a bead underneath this and kind of stick that to the bottom of the tank. And maybe, just maybe, I might do like one bead or like each corner, just to kind of hold the motherboard in place. Might be a good idea. So give me 1 second, let me get this all built up and I'll go over the entire thing. I think she's done for the most part. So we still have to test it and everything, obviously fill it up with liquid, but I got the 2 radiators installed. All right, we ran a hose from the top port here over to the other top port on this side, and I just kind of put a piece of rigid pipe, which is this CPVC material, it's like water piping, underneath just to kind of support it. And then I looped the wires around and just kind of zip tie and electrical taped everything. So I'm actually going to put some pipe insulation over this so it looks good. So right here you can see we have the pump. This pumps up, it goes into the bottom of the radiator, up, across, down into a 3/4 piece of pipe, which is a bigger like manifold style, and then it goes to a 3/4 by half T, blows down to a 90, and the 90 is split evenly between the GPU, so it flows the fluid past everything, the memory side and all of these heat sinks on this side. So hopefully that works well, and then I have room to, you know, cut in T's later. I just kind of hot glued it right to the glass just to hold it in place, so it should be good. I mean, theoretically it should be fine. Now this cord right here is plugged in over there to my PDU. For the time being, we are going to turn this on. I want to make sure that this thing works. That's why that fan's here. It is just temporary for the time being. It is plugged in right there with the other fans on the radiators, and yeah, that's going to keep this card cool. So fingers crossed that this GPU still works after doing what we did. Let's turn it on and see. All right, fans on. I mean, we can't tell if the GPU's on, but let me get inside HIVEOS and make sure this all works. And what do you know? All right, well, it works, so we're good to shut it off. I love the white lights because this is gonna bring some like nice effect to this tank. You know what? I'm gonna electrical tape all the way down this thing right now that I know the fans are working, so it looks a little better before we put it in place. All right, so we're up on the shelf in the studio. As you can see, it's all ready to go. I got the wires plugged in behind the wall here. They go down that crack. What I'm gonna do now is take the mineral oil and we're gonna start dumping it in. But I think what we should do is probably turn it on first. So I wanna dump this oil in while this thing's live, so let's do it. All right, so here goes nothing. Board's on. Let's do it. So there's 1 gallon in. Look at that. You can see the liquid inside the fan, or hear it a little bit. That's kind of neat. It's crazy you could dump this stuff in live. All right, let's keep going. It's the second one. So now that we have the second one in, I actually want to plug the pump in and see if the loop starts cycling. All right, so it's plugged in, but she's stuck right there. Damn it. All right, let's see if we can get some more in there. Real quick, you can see the bubbles coming out of that 90. That means the pump is starting to circulate and get all the air out. Last and final, number 10. All right, so this pump works, but it's not good enough for this thick of oil. It's made for water. So what we're going to do is plug this fan back in, and I'm going to drop it in the tank just to help circulate the water until I can get an additional pump or a new one. So what'd you guys think? Crazy that we could actually just pour mineral oil on a working PC and nothing happens. It just blows my mind. But good thing is the 570 is not dead. Crappy thing is the pump. I really didn't think too much about it when I was purchasing it. So that is a fish pump. So it pushes water. It could do 160 gallons per hour at like 3.6 feet up. So that's as high as it can push, and that's as many gallons per hour of water that it can push. The only thing I really didn't factor in was it's going to be pushing oil, not water. So oil is a lot thicker to push, and it's going to at least cut that number in half, if not more. So going through these radiators, those little ports are just too hard, and it's stressing out the pump too much, where it's literally just trickling out the other side. So if you guys didn't know, I am a plumber by trade, and I had a 0015 kicking around in my shop that I've had there for about 2 or 3 years at this point. This is a low, medium, high setting pump, and this is actually meant for my old house. So this is something you would typically use on a water boiler or a hydro coil of some sort. So I'm willing to use this, and we actually just cut out some high heat baseboard from a customer's house that I'm gonna repurpose. So I'm gonna get this thing all built up and on top of this tank to cool this oil, because I don't like giving up. So that's gonna be my next adventure. If you guys wanna watch that, hopefully you guys stay tuned, but I'm sorry I couldn't get it all in this video. If you guys did appreciate this content, go down here, hit this like button, don't forget to subscribe, and if you guys haven't seen this video or this video, please go check them out, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.